When I say I am sick and tired of the bull from Senator Bernie Sanders, I'm just tired of it. After the election on Tuesday, he decides to send out this statement.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Bernie Sanders destroying the Democratic Party after Kamala Harris's historic loss. And certain people like Roland Martin, who you saw at the very beginning, do not like what Bernie is doing. They want him to shut up, be quiet, don't tell the truth about the Democratic Party. And before we get to Bernie Sanders talking about this on television and also more from Roland Martin, let me just tell you what Bernie was saying in the statement. Now, I'll link to the statement in the box so you can read it in full. But basically, he's saying, look, the Democratic Party has abandoned working class people. So it's no surprise that working class people abandoned the Democratic Party. He says he can't really blame them for voting for Trump because Trump was the only one that was speaking to them. The Democratic Party, they speak at them, they lecture them, and they lie, and they do things that don't help the American people. The migrant crisis, border being wide open. Look, if you say the wide open border is because we need productivity and workers, look, you got to be honest. You can't tell lies. You can't tell half truths. You can't omit things. You can't engage in the lawfare. American citizens do not like this. They don't. And it's obvious. Now, before I go any further, let's get into the clip from Bernie. This is going to be on NBC with, Kristen Welker. I will link to this and also Roland's reaction in the box. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Senator Bernie Sanders issued a scathing statement after the vice president's loss in what he called a disastrous campaign, saying, quote, "It should come as no great surprise that a Democratic Party which has abandoned working class people would find that the working class has abandoned them." And independent Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont joins me now. Senator Sanders, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you for having me.
Now, can I say something right quick before we get into it? How old is Bernie? Bernie been around. I feel like Bernie been around and he's been old like that for about 20 years. He's got to be in his mid to late 80s, maybe, I'm thinking.
Thank you for being here on this Sunday after Election Day. Let's start right there. Your criticism incredibly direct. You say you think the Democratic Party has, quote, abandoned the working class. How exactly do you think Democrats have abandoned the working class, Senator?
Great question.
Look, the working people of this country are extremely angry. They have a right to be angry. In the richest country in the history of the world, today, the people on top are doing phenomenally well, while 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and millions of families worry that their kids are actually going to have a lower standard of living than they do. You got the top 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 90%. We're the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all of our people. 25% of our seniors are trying to live on $15,000 a year or less. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth. And the gap between the people on top and everybody else is getting wider and wider. And then, Kristen, on top of all of that, we got a corrupt campaign finance system which allows billionaires to buy elections. So
let's pause. Now, Bernie Sanders, I'm not necessarily a big fan of, although I can agree with a lot of what he's saying right here. I could put my feelings about his politics and whatnot to the side and just listen to what he's saying. Some things I agree with, some things I don't. Now, as far as the gap between the rich and the poor widening, that is 100% true. If you are having money, you're already successful, you're already doing well, you'll keep doing well. But if you are struggling, you're already born low income, it'd be very hard for you to reach that high income place or even a place of being comfortable. The middle class, the comfortable place, is becoming a thing of the past. Either you have the money or you don't have the money. And that's pretty much where we are in 2024. Now, as far as, the paid health care, all that kind of stuff, that's something different. But the core of what he's saying is 100% right on point.
So if you're an average worker out there, you're saying, hey, I'm working longer and longer hours, going nowhere in a hurry, worried about my kids, And yet the people on top have never had it so good. Where is the Democratic Party? Are they prepared to stand up to these powerful corporate interests, raise the minimum wage, fight for health care for all people? Make sure that all of our kids get the quality education that they need.
Minimum wage ain't gonna do nothing because people already make beyond that. You see what I'm saying? The federal minimum wage is $7.25, but I can go right now to McDonald's and get $15. So that's not really a thing that matters at all. And also, they bring in the migrants to have them work for less than that. So that's kind of a thing that is irrelevant. The most important thing is making the environment more suitable for people to be able to work and have their money go a long way, rather than right now that money doesn't really go anywhere. You're barely able to eke out a living.
Expand Social Security. Are they prepared to do those things? That's the issue that we have to address.
Well, as you know, your statement was met with some sharp reaction as well. This is what Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi had to say. Take a look. I'll get your reaction on the other side.
Bernie Sanders has not won. Let me, with all due respect, and I have a great deal of respect for him, for what he stands for, but I don't respect him saying that the Democratic Party has abandoned the working class families.
Senator, how do you respond to Nancy Pelosi?
Well, Nancy's a friend of mine, and we've worked together on many issues. But here is the reality. I have to say to Nancy, in the Senate in the last 2 years, we have not even brought forth legislation to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, despite the fact that some 20 million people in this country are working for less than $15 an hour. In America today, we have not brought, in the Senate, we have not brought to the floor the PRO Act to make it easier for workers to join unions. We're not talking about defined benefit pension plans so that our elderly can retire with security. We're not talking about lifting the cap on Social Security so that we can extend the solvency of Social Security and raise benefits. Bottom line, if you're an average working person out there, do you really think that the Democratic Party is going to the mats, taking on powerful special interests and fighting for you? I think the overwhelming answer is no. And that is what has got to change.
All right, there's more to this, but for time's sake, I ain't gonna play the whole thing. I'll link to it in the box. Now let's get to Roland. Let's get to Roland and what he's got to say. He's upset. He's mad that Bernie came out there and said that. I don't really know why he's mad, because the core essence of what he's saying is correct about the Democratic Party abandoning working class people. That is right. So I don't see what his beef is.
When I say I am sick and tired of the bull from Senator Bernie Sanders, I'm just tired of it. After the election on Tuesday, he decides to send out this statement. Go to my iPad. Sanders statement.
Yeah, you go to the iPad, but you want to go to that phone and see that dude's high parts on the screen no more, Roland Martin. I will never let you live that down, talking about it's just Twitter. Really? It's your algorithm. Somebody on your team or you or somebody was liking something and it popped up on the screen again, but I digress.
On the results of the 2024 presidential election, it should come as no great surprise that a Democratic Party which has abandoned working class people would find that the working class has abandoned them. He goes on talking about the spending with Israel. He talked, will the big money interests in well-paid consultants who control the Democratic Party learn any real lessons from this disastrous campaign? Will they understand the pain and the political alienation that tens of millions of Americans are experiencing? And blah, 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 blah. In the coming weeks and months, those of us concerned about grassroots democracy and economic justice need to have some very serious political discussions. All right, here's why I got a problem with the statement, Lauren. He wants to throw in Latino and black in this. No, and I said this after 16, and I said it after 20. No, Bernie, what I was just saying with Jane Elliott, you need to take your ass and go talk to white working class people. Because if you actually look at the agenda of Biden
Hey, Roland, don't give me no copyright on this. Fair use.
Harris, it was a whole lot that the working class got. And when you say working class, what are we talking about? Union workers? What are we talking about? And Sanders keeps going with this as if he's not a United States senator. as if he can't mobilize people. And it gets on my damn nerves when you act like stuff did not get passed.
Well, let's just be clear, Roland. Bernie Sanders is an independent who caucuses primarily with Democrats. So he's not even a Democrat, although he works with them. So to act like he could just mobilize things and make it happen, that's not quite the reality. And regardless of whether he can or not, it doesn't negate what he said, because the people are feeling this way. You're mad at him for expressing the views of the people when you should be mad at your party for not addressing the needs of the people.
And so he keeps saying they are abandoning working class people when he wants to deny the reality of whiteness and also white culture that also drives the voting habits of working class people.
So did whiteness and white culture make the black male vote in Texas for Trump go from 15% in 2020 to 34% in 2024? Is that what happened, Roland? Is that really what happened? And something else, I need you to take care of yourself, man. I be seeing these pundits on television looking crazy, built like bowling balls. And if he was a white guy, he'd be fire short red right now. I'm seeing high blood pressure in your face and your skin and your complexion. Please take care of yourself, Roland. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being dead serious.
How is it that black working class folk got it, and he's wrong in his press release, black working class people, we figured it out, but the other folk didn't?
What do you mean we figured it out? I told you that you saw there was a big rise. A lot of the black population, we don't know anything. So we're just going to vote Democrat because of tradition. If you ask us why, we're not going to know. But those of us who have a brain, those of us who do understand, a lot of us tend to vote differently. We're not just going to be monolithic and traditional. We're going to vote in the way that makes sense for us. Now, again, I'll link to that full thing in the box, but you got some nerve, Rolling, to be upset at Bernie when in reality, your anger should be towards your party. Listen, if your party was doing a good job, then they wouldn't have won. They would have succeeded, but they're not doing a good job. You got a lot of swing voters who will vote for Democrat, Republican, whoever they think is going to be the best pick. And in this case, all the swing states, for the most part, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but they all went for Trump because they saw that he was the best option between him and Kamala and the Obama, Biden, that whole uniparty cabal. But as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to everybody who understands the reality of the situation, that the Democratic Party are not doing what's in the best interest of the people, and the Republican Party, led by Trump and his people, are. It's just that simple. Anything else is a cope at best, in my humble opinion. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on this whole situation? Do you agree with Bernie? Do you agree with Roland? Do you agree with neither one? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. The Democratic Party did it to themselves. If they were doing what's right for the people, if they were honest with the people, then they would get people to vote for them. Then they would succeed. But since they aren't honest, since they aren't good, they lost. That's the beauty of America. We have the power as people to put in who we want as leaders. And if they're not doing well, we take them out using our system, using the vote. Simple as that. Anything else other than what I'm talking about as far as a reason why Kamala lost, the Democratic Party lost, is just not factual. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.